welcome to Up Close with Carlos Sang, celebrating art, entertainment, and the human spirit. Welcome to another episode of Up Close with Carlos Sang. My next guest is about to appear as Nancy in Leeds Playhouse's production of Oliver. She has previously been seen in productions of Ghost the Musical, Berlusconi, and was also in the previous production of Oliver as well. So it's a huge delight to be able to introduce the wonderful Jenny Fitzpatrick. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Pleased to be here.
Yeah. So you previously worked in Leeds for Aladdin, which when it was the West Yorkshire Playhouse. What was it that made you want to come back to Leeds Playhouse for Oliver?
Oh, it's the most delightful building, like Aladdin. God, yeah, that was, oh my gosh, that was about 13 years ago now. It's just an absolutely delightful place to be, especially over Christmas. The building itself is just, it's got so many activities, and you've got the courtyard, you've got the Quarry Theatre, and both of the productions are always really high standard. I think when I did it back then, I think they were doing Scrooge or Christmas Carol, and it just was an amazing building to be in. And at Christmas, it's so Christmassy and everyone's really friendly. There's always loads of kids about. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, Leeds is such a vibrant city, as you say, and it's great to see that Leeds Playhouse is still such an active producing house. How would you describe, Leeds audiences, and how has it been working up there so far?
So far, it's brilliant. It's been, what's so good as well is you get so many different sort of regional shows that sort of come in as well and tour here. It's very accessible. They do a lot of things for, like there's a show on at the moment, which is a mix of deaf actors and hearing actors, I think, and they do lots of accessibility type shows as well. And an amazing relaxed performance that they do, which is one of the things I really remember from before. It just was the most rewarding performance I think I did here. So I'm looking forward to doing that here as well. Yeah. And Leeds as an area is amazing. There's just so much to do. There's something to see everywhere. The shops are great, which is dangerous when there's a break, but so that'll be interesting for Christmas.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like the perfect time to be up there. I know you previously played Rose as well in Rupert Gould's Oliver in Drury Lane, a while
the
back.
Rose Seller, yeah. That was, in 2009. And actually, so I was the Rose Seller, but I was second cover Nancy, and I never actually got to go on. So it feels very much full circle being able to do it now.
Yeah, did you always want to, play Nancy as well, going forwards?
Yeah, literally Nancy for me as an alto singer as well. Nancy has always been like a dream role ever since like drama school. So then when they did it as a reality show, I was like, oh no, I don't want to go. I didn't want to go on a reality show. So I didn't want to audition that way. So then when I spoke to my agent about coming in to audition for cover, back then I was like 100% would love to. And that was with the lovely Jodie Prenger was playing it, Tamsin Carroll was the alternate. So I just learned from some amazing actors who are now very dear friends of mine. So then when I finished that job, I sort of said to my agent, you know what, if it ever comes back, I'd love to do it again. So it's been amazing that I can. And the guy that's playing Bill Sikes, Chris Bennett, was also in that production and was second cover Bill Sikes. So we did our rehearsals together back then, and now we both get to play it.
Oh wow, that's so cool. How things can come back around.
Yeah, absolute full circle. So it's delightful to be able to do it again in such a different, reimagined version of it, which makes it just brilliant. It's so creative being able to do it from a complete different perspective. And James Brining's visions of this are superb, ways I'd not thought of certain bits of the dialogue and the characters. He's got a real amazing vision. So very excited.
Yeah, James Brining, he definitely seems like a really exciting, up and coming director as well. I think it's great that, Leeds have him. What have those conversations been like on, reimagining Oliver, which is, already such a well-known piece?
Yeah, well, I mean, we all very much, it's been such a collaborative piece and like rehearsal process, which has been great. And so you've got James Brining directing it, you've got Colin designing it as well. And the design, which I won't spoil too much for when people come and see, it's completely different to any version I've seen done before, which is amazing, especially when you have done it before. It's lovely to come in with fresh eyes and a fresh perspective so that it is a complete different experience. And James is very collaborative. He wants everybody's input all the time, and he encourages your opinions and the organic process of it, which has been an absolute delight, again, to be fair. He goes very much into the psychology of each character, which is so helpful. And all of these characters are so beautifully complex, you know, especially Nancy, that it's an absolute joy as an actor to play, really.
Yeah, of course, I can imagine. One of the things I'm finding really exciting as well about this upcoming production is that you'll be playing in the round as well. How is that a particularly exciting or a challenging prospect for you as well as an actor performing for audiences all around you?
Scary is the word. Very scary. No, it's I hadn't realized before when they said it's going to be in the round. I was like, yeah, that's fine. I've done that before. And then when I broke it down, I was like, oh, actually, I've only done it in the round for plays. I hadn't done a musical in the round. So it's definitely challenging as an actor and as a director, I feel, and as a designer, I think, for Colin. But it's what it does do is bring a real community vibe to the piece. It makes it, even though it isn't immersive, it gives that immersive feel. And Oliver, at the heart of Oliver, in my opinion, it's so much about community. So it just, knowing that there's somebody around you at any point, especially for the numbers like Consider Yourself and, you know, some of the market scenes where it is like busy and vibrant, just knowing that you've got people on every side, I think it's going to be a real experience for the audience. I think they're going to really feel part of it, which is exciting. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like we didn't get many shows in the round as well, and definitely not many musicals in the round, so it's definitely
Yeah.
something quite unique.
Yeah, it's lovely. So I encourage people when they're booking tickets to get the seats that are on the stage as well, because it's been directed and choreographed by Lucy Hines so brilliantly and perfectly, actually, that I feel like wherever you are in the venue, you get a good experience of what the piece we're trying to tell is.
Yeah, yeah. Isn't there Joe Goodwin also involved as well in the choreography?
Yeah, she is the amazing Jo. So they're an amazing team, the three of them. So, you know, with Lucy, Jo, and Landell, our dance captain, the three of them are just, they bring such a brilliant energy to the room, especially because we're such a mix of adults and kids. I think right, hang on, let me get this right. There's 19 adults and there's 38 kids.
Wow.
It's a busy room. And there's some numbers that literally the whole cast are in, bar 3, I think, is the biggest number. And how they've choreographed it, and they bounce off each other, Lucy and Jo. They're a brilliant collaborative team. They bounce off each other, and it's great seeing how they work and their creative minds. And again, they are very open to ideas and stuff from the company. So it's fantastic company. Like every single person has got such an input to the piece that we're creating.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, 38 kids is a lot of kids. How
It's
has
a
it
lot of
been,
kids.
how has it been working with, so many children around you?
I love it. I think I'm the biggest kid out of all of us, to be fair. There's so many times where they're trying to keep the kids quiet and I'm the one that's probably riled them up. So it's like, sorry. No, they're great. And I think what's so nice is that as actors, I think, slightly generalizing, but as you get older, I think that sort of that you analyze more, you process what you're doing more, and you have to make more choices. With your acting choices are more choices. And I think with the kids and the young adults, the young actors are very organic, and their innocence and natural reactions is beautiful to work opposite.
Yeah.
You know, we've got 3 teams, we've got 3 Olivers and 3 Dodgers, and whichever one we mix them in and out all the time, so we all get used to being with each other. And it's such a different natural energy from every single one of them. They all bring something really special to the piece, that
Yeah.
it's really exciting, and it's never the same twice, which is brilliant.
Yeah, it's really great to see that Oliver is coming back and you've got such a great company.
Yeah,
Why do you think Oliver has been able to, stay so popular, for so long over the years?
I think it's still so relatable, which is it's there's still so many issues within the piece that are so prevalent today still, whether it be even with like the class system and things like that. One of the things that we've spoken a lot about within this piece is that, you've got your Nancys and your Dodgers and the Fagin and the Bill Sykes that live in this working class sort of community. You walk around the corner or you go sort of 10 minutes down the road and you're in Bloomsbury, where you've got the Brownlows and so much money. So it's the fact that these are still issues in today's society, where people are struggling so much for money, and then literally 10 minutes down the road, there's so much, they're so well off and everything. Bearing in mind that what Dickens wrote this in, 1838, I think it is, if my knowledge is right. It's like 1838, he wrote that. The film was in 1968, and we're in 2023 now. And those issues are still things that we have to think about today. Is madness, really. Something you thought it would have sort of evened out by now. But and at the heart of the story is, you know, it's about love, it's about loyalty, it's about community, and they're all things that everybody can relate to, you know, in every single walk of life.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it still works. And it's that, you know, Oliver's journey ultimately is about looking for love and a place to call home, a place of belonging. And I think a majority of people have at some point in their life been in that position, you know, where they just want to feel, they want a place that they can call home. Or it explores that in most of the characters, if not every character in this production, you know, has their own journey of love and loyalty and looking for a place of belonging. So I personally find it really relatable. So it's, so I think that's why, and as well, because it's got amazing tunes in it. So it's got the songs. Everybody knows the songs already, don't they? So it's lovely. I think people will feel like they want to just join in and sing along when some of the bangers come on.
Yeah, it's definitely a great piece, as you say, and it's got all those, you know, really important themes. Was there much in Nancy which you could see in yourself too?
Yeah, there was, you know, and I think that whole sense of, again, that's without repeating myself, that sense of belonging and just wanting to feel content with what she has and everything. I'm a Londoner anyway as well, so that's always good to play like a London track as well. And I think it's just that thing of, she's so loyal and she fights for the things she believes in. She's beautifully complex, and you know, I personally, as an older woman, feel very relatable to those themes that Nancy sort of has. You know, especially family is such an important thing for me, and choosing your own family also is very important to me. I've got lots of friends that are family, and I feel at the heart of Nancy, that's what it is. And her chosen family, you know, be it Fagin, be it Sykes, be it Dodger and Bet, you know, her relationship with Bet is really beautiful. And I feel that I can bring a lot of my own elements of my friendships and my family values into this part.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting, you know, it's such a heartwarming family piece. And it's interesting because earlier in this year I came to see you in Berlusconi, which is kind of like the complete opposite of that.
Berlusconi the Musical, slightly
Yeah.
different part.
Yeah, I mean, what was it that drew you to that show as well?
The music is absolutely joyous. I did the workshops for it a couple of years ago, and the team of people that worked on it were so passionate and so driven, and it was the most delightful week learning all the music. And I remember saying at the time, I was like, if this comes in, I'd love to do it. And it did go. It went to the Southwark Playhouse Elephant, the new one, which was it's great doing a new venue and everything. And it's very much, it had a feel, it's got a kind of feel of the Donmar, which was kind of what they're going for. And musically, I just thought it was absolutely fantastic. It was a sung through show. I mean, got to sing with Emma Hatton and Sally Ann Triplett, which was an absolute delight. And it was a very strong, female-heavy piece, which was lovely, led by Sebastian Torchia, who was Berlusconi and who's, again, the most delightful actor that I've had the joy of working with. So it was, we were very much a team on that show because we had no idea how it was going to go down. But it was interesting. And for me, I will always champion new writing. I think it's so important. It's lovely doing Oliver, and it's lovely. And what I love about doing Oliver is that it's such a reimagined version of it that it feels like a new piece of writing. Just with even how Toby Higgins has done the music, how James has done the direction, how Lucy's done the choreography. It feels like a new piece of writing. But Berlusconi, it excited me, not knowing what anybody was going to think of it. But it was brilliant. And I still, the writing of it, the musical elements were fantastic. There were some real amazing tunes in it. And I hope that it has another life somewhere. You know, I don't know. I'm not sure where they are with it, but hopefully it does. I'm glad you got to see it.
Yeah, I actually really liked it. You know, it sort of like tickled me. You know, it made me laugh in a lot of moments, and it made me think as well. You know, a lot of the political, you know, parallels of today too.
Yeah. Well, Berlusconi, unfortunately, was kind of like the handbook for people like Donald Trump and then some. So it's make of that what you will. But it's it's a scary thing that is so that story is so current right now, especially in America. So it's, it was interesting hearing people's opinions. Some people were very angry watching it. They felt quite triggered watching it. The Italian audiences, which we had so many nights where it was pretty much full Italian audiences, it was incredible because the jokes landed, the irony landed. Interestingly, when it was a more of a UK audience, how the vibe in the theatre was different.
Yeah.
So as an actor, that was interesting as well, because it was so close. You practically, my character in particular was in and out amongst the audience constantly. So it was an interesting energy every night.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, it was such a, it was a show full of energy, as you say.
Yeah.
Did you know much about Berlusconi before you started too?
No, before I started, bare minimums. I knew obviously the sort of links to football, and I knew I'd heard about the bunga bunga parties and things like that. But all in all, not really. So doing that research was like mind-boggling. It literally just, and for me, every time I researched anything on him, I was like, oh my gosh, that's Donald Trump. Oh my gosh, that's like Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Everything. And so I think in that sense, it was easy to understand because we'd witnessed it happening in the media, I guess, with Donald Trump. And then scarily, again, how much the issues in Berlusconi are issues here as well in the UK, with how, particularly in how females are treated in certain workplaces or not respected and taken advantage of, things like that. So it was brilliant to try and, it felt important to tell the correct story, especially within my part of Fama that I was playing. I wanted to get it correct. In the same way, again, it's that whole thing of, with any type of abuse or abuse of power, again, it's better, quite a few of the roles that I've played as a female are often there's an element of that, which is interesting, be it Fama, Tina Turner, and Nancy as well, how the sort of abusive elements within Oliver, which are done very tastefully, and it's interesting and important to tell the correct story and be sensitive to those things that can be very triggering and very prevalent today.
Of course. I mean, how challenging is it to discuss such heavy topics through a musical?
Yeah, I mean, and I think what is so great about Oliver is that it really, and what James has done with our Oliver, our production of Oliver, is he hasn't shied away from the depth of how hard it can be experiencing things like, I've got terms for it now, like coercive control or manipulation or domestic abuse in some ways. He hasn't shied away from it at all, but at the same time, we've got enough light and shade that it doesn't overpower the musical. So it's still very much a family show, but it's very truthful with its content. I'm hoping that people experience different levels of this, of type of abuse and things like that. And I think that hopefully we've done it tastefully enough that people can feel like we've made a journey or we've made a statement in some way about this, is my hope. But it's so surrounded by light and hope and love that I'm hoping we ask the correct questions, that the audience come out still feeling positive and happy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've played so many interesting roles, as you say, like Tina, like Fama, like Nancy. Do you actively, look for roles which, have that, extra dimension to them that's not just, on the surface?
Yeah, I do. And I think it's important. I also try not to, I try to play roles that aren't very always stereotypically for Black performers as well. I think that's important to try and get that diversity out there as well. So I think like playing Nancy as a Black woman, after seeing Sonia Swaby do it and things like that back in the day, just again, it's really adds a different layer to it again and things like that. And I think I am always very much attracted to strong book musicals. So, the book Oliver, what Lionel Bart's put into our version of Oliver is brilliant. There's no fat on it at all. It's every single line in this production is needed, for every single character. It feels like they've taken the correct parts of Dickens' book and put it in. So I think it's such a beautifully written musical. It's the same with Tina. I think the book was incredibly strong. And I think had it not have been, I don't think I'd have been as drawn to doing the production. But I think Tori Hall, how she wrote that with Tina, obviously was hand in hand with her sort of giving her opinions and stuff like that. I think, so again, was very tastefully and beautifully done. So yeah, obviously Berlusconi was sung through, but it's normally very much the book leads whether I'd like to do it or not. And the parts are getting a lot more interesting for women now, for yeah, so hopefully that's going to still carry on happening.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think especially for like, women, above a certain age as well, I think.
Yeah. And actually that's interesting because when I did Oliver in the West End, I was in my 20s. So it's interesting looking at Nancy and how I come at the part of Nancy as I can't remember, 24-year-old to a 40-year-old now. But it's that coming at it with the life experience that I've got now has given me a whole different dimension to the character. I'm not saying either way is better or worse, but it's definitely different. And I'm really pleased to have that opportunity to do this as a 40-year-old woman, to play Nancy.
Yeah.
Because it's even with things like that maternal instinct is, for me personally, is a lot more now than for me it was at 24. And so I've been able to sort of put that into it a bit more and enjoyed that element of it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a hard switching off from characters, after shows too. Do characters stay with you much?
Yeah. So because we're in rehearsals at the moment, I tend to immerse myself quite a lot in the part. And so I have a Nancy playlist, or sometimes if I'm not feeling Nancy enough, which is sometimes a little bit sad, a little bit depressing. But then I've got a de-rolling Nancy playlist as well, which is literally all your salsa music, a bit of Camila Cabello, a bit of Anne-Marie. So just to de-roll a little bit, just because I think it's, you can sometimes, when I did Tina, I took it home with me too much. And it was so emotionally draining throughout the show, and that it's, I think it's important to leave it behind. And so with this, just put on some good tunes. Again, like I say, Chris Bennett, who plays Sykes, is one of my best mates. So me and him just go and have a laugh somewhere and just complete, I think, de-roll, get back to being Jenny, and then leave it at the door. And what is quite nice, because it starts so positive for Nancy, and like my act one is all about just messing about with the boys and, just playing with Fagin's den and things like that. So it always starts so positive. So you never got it's always ups and downs.
Yeah, definitely. What are there still any dream roles that you'd like to take off, going forwards?
We were talking about this yesterday, I don't know. I'm quite enjoying Hadestown at the moment. I'm very, very, very excited for that to come to town. Not with me, but for the cast that they're going to have in Hadestown next year. Persephone would be a fun part to play. Maybe not yet, but that would be a fun part to play. And for me, it's new writing. I love new writing. I love being able to create a character and putting my own stamp on it. And so I think it's more that would excite me at the moment.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of really exciting new writers too, so I can definitely understand that.
Yeah, there is, and I think they should be championed. And I think that I've got such a huge respect for Six and things like that, because the fact that they took the same team of people, the same team of actors from the beginning through to the West End and stuff, I think is so incredible for new writing in this day and age. That's not an easy thing to do, and it's, the success of that is phenomenal. So I will always be like, if there's new writing, I'll always be like, yep, let's see what it is. Let's give it a go. Especially like something like Six that isn't from like something that's already there, like a film that's already been made or a book that's already popular, which is why I was like, yes, Berlusconi, come on, we can do this.
Yeah, I guess there's more intrigue and there's more surprise as well. The audience don't know what's, coming next. So I think that's always more exciting too.
Yeah, definitely. And there's so many talented writers out there that have these brilliant ideas that I think it's important to shine a light on them, definitely.
Yeah. Are there any particular, creatives or actors that you still like to work with as well going forwards?
Oh my gosh, so many. Like, I'm sure I can't for the life of me think of anybody now. You've just said that, but there's so many. I will always watch a show and be like excited. Like when I got this job, I was very excited to work with Steve First, who's our Fagin. I'd seen him performing things before, and like namely, I'd seen him in, I remember seeing him in Matilda years ago, and he is the most amazing physical actor. The physicality he brings to his characters are just second to none. It's been an absolute masterclass. And so oftentimes it's things like that and people like that, that when I see a cast list, I'm like, that's so exciting. I can't wait to work with that person, you know, to learn from them. And I'm like a sponge. So I love it when I come to a job and just immerse myself in other people's talent and just try and learn from them. And so it's more a case of that, you know. Last year I was lucky to work with Owen Teale, who was Christmas Carol at the Old Vic, which again just felt absolutely delighted to be able to learn everything from him and Berlusconi. I had Sally Ann Triplett, has been one of my idols for like my whole career, and Emma Hatton, and you know, it's constant. You're constantly surrounded by amazingness. And you know, in Oliver now we've got such a range of ages in our cast as well. Every single person brings something spectacular to our piece, and so every day I'm coming in and just like, oh my god, that energy, or your choice is there. It's always something fantastic to learn from with every single person. Even the kids as well. I said that like it was even the kids. The kids as well are a delight to learn from. So less about aspiring to work with someone, but being excited every time there's somebody new that I can work with, somebody that I've not worked with before.
Yeah, definitely. It's been so great talking to you. Just as the last question, what's the best part about being Jenny Fitzpatrick?
I tend to get away with a lot. I think because I'm a bit cheeky. What's the best part? Do you know what? I will say I've got the best support system. I'm very, 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 very lucky. I've got a really amazing family and group of friends that are the reason I'm able to do what I do, and are the reason I've stayed in work, I think, because you're going to get jobs that are tough. You're going to get companies that are tough. And I think that whenever you've had them experience, which I would actually say in 20 years in the industry has rarely happened, but having that support system and knowing that you've always got people to rally you on and keep you up, I think is very important. I think this industry is tough. And I think, you know, using yourself as a product can be really hard. And you do have to be really thick-skinned. And those times that you're not, those times that you're feeling quite vulnerable and like you don't really have the strength to sort of do it anymore, I've got an amazing group of people behind me that pick me up and keep me held up so that I can carry on. And so I think hands down, they are the best thing about me.
Thank you so much for your time, Jenny.
Thank you.